This is Mental Forge, where weakness burns and warriors are built. The first time you held the door to a room you were not invited into and walked through it anyway, you felt it in your chest, that mix of heat and ice. A boardroom, a gym, a stage, a quiet office where the only applause is the soft click of a sent email. Your hand shook, but you still reached. That is the moment we are here to stretch into a way of living. Act as if you are meant to succeed. Not pretend, not boast. Behave, build. Breathe like someone who belongs at the finish line because you have been practicing the stride, studying the course, and warming the tendons daily. That is the promise tonight. By the end of this conversation, you will carry a different posture, a new inner grammar for your decisions, a working blueprint you can live tomorrow morning before the coffee cools. Let me ask you a private question only you can answer. If your life were a forge, what metal would you be feeding it? Scraps of doubt burn quick and leave ash. Solid ore takes heat and shapes into tools you can use. I want you to hold a simple image, a key in your palm, warm from your skin. That key is the identity you rehearse through action. Every repetition makes the edges sharper. You do not need permission to pick a lock you built. The mind, your mind, is not a vault of secrets. It is a workshop. Neurons are not stubborn bricks. They are riverbeds that shift with the flow of your attention. Aim your focus, repeat with intention, and the river carves a canyon of capability. If this is your first time by the fire, welcome. Take a breath. Settle in. We are going to do real work. And if you find value here, if the voice in your chest nods along and whispers, yes, tap that subscribe so we can build this craft together week by week. One ember becomes a blaze when enough hands shield it from the wind. Let us name the promise and make it plain. Act as if you are meant to succeed, and your days will change shape. You will stop negotiating with hesitation. You will start training your nervous system to associate risk with practice instead of panic. Decisions will come quicker, cleaner, aligned to a North Star you can describe in one sentence. Money will stop feeling like weather and start feeling like engineering. Inputs, outputs, feedback loops. You will learn the skin-thin difference between faith and fear. Faith moves the hand, while fear narrates the catastrophe. We will wire your brain for execution through small, stacked behaviors. We will teach your inner voice to speak in purpose, not apology. And we will do it the way mountains rise. Quietly, continuously, one layer at a time. You have heard of compound interest in finance. You have lived compound identity in secret. Every day you repeat a habit, your brain stamps a passport. The stamp reads, "This is who I am." Read that again, not with your eyes but with your breath. This is who I am. When you make a promise at night and keep it in the morning, the subconscious takes notes and adjusts your self-image upward. That is not magic in the mystical sense. That is neuroplasticity. Synapses coating themselves in myelin, circuits recruiting more attention and oxygen because they get used often. You are installing an operating system by how you spend your mornings and your margin. There is a power to acting as if that has nothing to do with pretense and everything to do with priming. Athletes visualize plays not for comfort, but because the brain rehearses pathways that the body later runs. Entrepreneurs draft future balance sheets because it focuses their eyes on leading indicators instead of lagging applause. The mind becomes a magnet for input that matches the expectation it believes is real. Expectation is the steering wheel of your perception. That is why you must be precise. Expectation without discipline is fantasy. Expectation with discipline is destiny shaped by daily labor. Now, foundations. Long before we began calling them life hacks and performance routines, people who studied success noticed that small things done consistently beat big things done occasionally. Think about the edge you get when you choose a small improvement every day, even when it seems boring. Over weeks, the arc is invisible. Over months, it is undeniable. This is the slight edge, the compound effect in motion. Ordinary choices repeated with faith until they carry the weight of the extraordinary. Behind it stands the elegant mechanics of habit formation. Cue, routine, reward. You set a cue, you design a friction-light action, you attach a reward your brain craves. Behavior becomes automatic, while the identity updates in the background. There is another foundation, the one that sounds paradoxical until you feel it in your bones. Detach from outcome, commit to process. The paradox is not weakness, it is leverage. When you release your grip on the instant result, you free your attention to master the next action, the one move you can control. This is not passivity, it is poise. When your attention rests in the present, anxiety drains, clarity rises, performance climbs. The now is narrow. That is why it is powerful. Your nervous system can only carry so much, so we must prune. Belief is a tool, not a wish. When you affirm with conviction and then behave in congruence, the subconscious reorients. Think of belief as a lens. It does not create reality, but it filters what you notice and what you act on. The subconscious accepts repeated, emotionally charged instruction. Feed it visions of competence and service, and you will begin to move like the person who delivers those outcomes. Feed it rehearsals of failure, and the body will comply. We will use this tool with integrity, not to deceive ourselves, but to direct ourselves. Let us step into history. The forge has had many apprentices. Consider the story of the man who built cars for ordinary families when the world expected only toys for the wealthy. He wanted to make a machine cheap enough that his own workers could buy it. People laughed. When he insisted on one model to focus the factory, advisors warned him he was strangling choice. He doubled down on standardization, on flow, on the slow dance of continuous improvement. The legacy is not the car, it is the system. He acted as if the solution already existed and then engineered the factory to reveal it. The lesson is not nostalgia. It is focus, simplification, and courage to reject complexity that flatters the ego. Another flame. A man who failed countless times in the dark, chasing light he could hold in a filament. He insisted he had not failed, but found many ways that did not work. That is not bravado. It is cognitive reframing, protecting effort from corrosion. He built a laboratory of iteration, where experiments were counted in the thousands. He squeezed learning out of every misstep. He did not wait for motivation to bless him. He scheduled it. He brought rough drafts to life until one became a standard for the world. Acting as if you are meant to succeed means treating failure as a teacher on salary, not as a sworn enemy. Think of the steel magnate who understood that wealth is not a pile, but a system of people, ideas, and incentives. He surrounded himself with men who were better at each piece than he was. He made it a point to borrow brilliance, to praise publicly and correct privately. He turned authority into a multiplier. The lesson? Success is not a solo climb. It is a team sport strategically arranged. Acting as if does not mean doing it alone. It means curating the room where the future is being negotiated and owning the chair you sit in. Consider the quiet resolve of a statesman who carried melancholy like a stone in his pocket and still held the nation steady through storms. He was not an orator of constant triumph. He was a craftsman of resolve. He found strength in principle and in the simple discipline of honest labor. He kept showing up, losing elections, reading law by candlelight, practicing the art of a clear sentence until it could carry a country. Acting as if you are meant to succeed is not a loud swagger. It is a steady gaze, moral spine, and a willingness to pay attention longer than your fear can shout. Look at the oil architect who built empires quietly through arithmetic and patience. He cared about margins, pipelines, logistics, not just gushers. He was calm when prices swung because he had systems, not hunches. He took emotion out of transactions and put principle in. The lesson for you is serene arithmetic. When you set up automatic savings, when you invest on a cadence, when you trim expenses with a surgeon's eye and reallocate into assets, you are doing the slow, unromantic work that eventually looks like inevitability. Think of the leader who rallied a nation with nothing but language and backbone when the sky went black. He understood the strategic value of the right words at the right time, and he maintained a personal habit of writing, editing, and walking. When doom demanded submission, he chose defiance wrapped in discipline. He did not deny danger, he named it, framed it, and placed himself and his people inside a larger story. Acting as if you are meant to succeed is storytelling with responsibility. The story you tell yourself about who you are and what you are capable of must be strong enough to hold your fear without breaking. Picture the philosopher emperor who wrote to himself at dawn, reminding his mind to meet fools, flatterers, and pain with composure. His empire was turbulent. His inner life was orders, notes, reflections. He trained his judgment to align with nature, to control only himself. He lived a journal, not a show. That is what we will do with our prompts. That is how we reinforce character, day after day, without applause. And then, there is the inventor who dreamed in diagrams and walked through storms of ideas, often sleeping little, consumed by vision. He held pictures in his mind so vivid they served as blueprints. He would iterate in imagination before metal ever touched a lathe. You can borrow that method. Visualize the end with such clarity that the steps light up on their own. Run the plan in your mind until execution feels familiar. These stories are not invitations to worship idols. They are proof of the same laws working through different lives. They are lessons, not legends. The lessons are simple and hard. You are not special in your obstacles. You are special in your response. So how do we build this response into our bones? We start at the level of daily architecture. Mornings are a lever. Use it. When you wake, your brain is shifting from dream waves to a window of heightened imprinting. Before you gift your attention to the noise, take it to the forge. Breathe. 4 slow in, hold for 4, exhale for 6. Do this 3 rounds. Tell your nervous system we are safe, we are present, we are ready to work. This preps your vagal tone, calms the limbic alarm, thins the fog. Open a journal and write 3 lines. 1. Today I practice like someone meant to succeed by doing this one hard thing. Name it. 2. The person I am becoming behaves this way under pressure. Describe that behavior in present tense and concrete terms. 3. The one value I refuse to compromise today is this. Now, close your eyes and run a mental movie, short and specific. You see yourself doing the hard thing. You feel the friction. You see your hands, the room, the time of day, the small victory. You breathe as if you are already there. This is not fantasy. This primes the neural pathways you will fire for real. Stand up. Say your identity lines out loud, not as hope, as instruction. I move decisively. I finish what I start. I protect my attention like gold. I create value, and I receive value. Keep it simple. Keep it honest. The voice in your head already talks. It is time to give it a script that serves you. Now the mechanics. Design a keystone habit for your work block. A start ritual that takes less than 2 minutes and always means the same thing. It might be placing your phone in another room, opening your to-do list to one task, setting a timer, and reading your objective sentence. The brain loves association. If you always start the same way, the resistance weakens. Implementation intentions add force. If X happens, I do Y. If I feel the urge to check social media, I stand, take 2 breaths, and return to the cursor. If someone requests my time, I consult my calendar before answering. Pre-decide to avoid decision fatigue. We will stack habits like bricks. A morning routine, a focus block, a movement session, an evening review. Not because routines are cute, but because the brain burns energy adjudicating uncertainty. Reduce the load, increase the output. Let us talk money. Because belief without stewardship is a poem, not a plan. Automate your savings. A percentage of every dollar flows into long-term investments before you can touch it. This is paying your future self first, a quiet demonstration of self-respect. Build an emergency buffer so fear stops negotiating every decision. Run a weekly expense audit. Not a shame session, a data review. Label your spending. Survival, comfort, status, investment. Trim status and aim comfort at what nourishes you, not what distracts you. Use that freed capital to buy assets, index funds, productive businesses, real estate if appropriate. Invest in skills that raise your earning power: copywriting, sales, data analysis, coding, public speaking, leadership. Stack skills like layers of steel. One skill sharpens the next. Consider asymmetric bets. These are opportunities where your downside is limited and your upside grows with scale. A digital product, a newsletter, a course, a small equity slice in a friend's startup, licensing intellectual property, a niche service with recurring revenue. You will not gamble. You will prototype. Build small, test fast, learn, iterate. The goal is cash flow that sleeps when you sleep and wakes when you wake. Name your monthly freedom number. Move relentlessly toward covering it with assets. Now, decision-making. Clarity reduces anxiety. A simple framework. Define the decision in one sentence. Identify the reversible versus irreversible nature. For reversible decisions, decide quickly, test, adjust. For irreversible, gather enough data to be confident, then commit. Put time limits on research to avoid paralysis. Create decision rules that encode your values. I do not partner with people I cannot trust. I do not pursue strategies that conflict with my family's needs. I do not chase returns I do not understand. Decision rules turn emotion into guardrails. We will build a weekly review. This is your command center. Choose a fixed time. Same day. Review your goals, your metrics, your spending, your calendar. Reflect with 5 questions. What did I promise? What did I deliver? What strategy produced results? What friction blocked me? What will I do differently next week? Write in short, honest sentences. Pull metrics. Revenue, outreach, workouts, reading, sleep, deep work hours, savings rate. Look at trend lines, not single points. Adjust. This is how pilots fly through weather. They do not wish the clouds away. They scan instruments and correct course. Let me tell you about a general whose ruthlessness on the battlefield masked a poet's sensitivity to timing. Before crossing a narrow river at night with his men, he burned his boats, not as a stunt, but as a commitment device. Retreat became impossible. Focus became absolute. You will not need to burn literal boats. You will, however, burn bridges to habits that sabotage you. Delete the app, end the open tab. Say no to the gig that pays today but steals tomorrow. When you remove escape hatches, attention intensifies. Another leader, the man with the lion heart of a different kind, ordered a charge against an army larger than his own, in a narrow pass where numbers did not matter as much as courage and terrain. He chose the ground. Strategy beats size. In your work, choose environments that shrink your temptations. Work in a room where only the task is possible. Choose markets where your edge is relevant. Build offers that play to your strengths. Craft constraints that make excellence the path of least resistance. A statesman with spectacles and a schedule carried a small notebook to write every expenditure, every promise, every improvement idea. He treated virtue like a ledger and built wealth with the same seriousness. He did not trust memory when a pencil would do. You can do the same with your habit tracker, your budget, your commitments. Write what you intend. Write what you did. Reconcile. There is dignity in being your own auditor. There is a banker who could stare across a desk and see the shape of industries before they took off. He valued discipline in accounting and in character. He understood that trust is collateral. Guard your reputation as you would guard your savings. Your name can reduce friction or add it. Keep your words small enough to keep, strong enough to matter. When you negotiate, aim for durability, not victory. There, in a quiet workshop, a man drew lines that described falling apples and moving planets. His power was not in speed, but in solitude and focus. He let curiosity pull him deeper than distractions could pull him away. You may not have his equations, but you can borrow his devotion. Carve blocks of time where you are unreachable. Let your brain enter deep concentration. This is where leverage is mined, and there stands the Roman who dictated thoughts to himself to prepare for vanity, insult, and misfortune, to prime mercy and patience. He trained his mind to meet chaos with clean action. Since you cannot choose the world, choose your stance. Every morning, write the worst that could happen today, and your chosen response in a single sentence. Not to invite misfortune, but to rehearse composure. When the moment arrives, your mind will find the groove you created. These stories serve a common intention: to show that acting as if you are meant to succeed is not theater, it is practice. It is building rituals that embody the future before it arrives. The subconscious, your tireless servant, needs repetition, emotion, and imagery. We will use all three. Let us craft a daily ritual in detail. Upon waking, water first, then breath. Speak the identity lines. Journal 3 lines. Visualize a scene of execution, then immediately step into a small physical act that matches your vision. 2 minutes of tidying your workspace. 1 email sent, 1 page outlined, 1 sales call scheduled. The action cements the visualization. Then, perform your focus block. 90 minutes, undisturbed. Timer on, phone away, browser pared down to only what you need. Midday, move. Sweat is solvent for stress. Afternoon, a second, shorter deep work block, then admin. Evening, a shutdown ritual. List tomorrow's 3 priorities. Preview the next day's calendar. Write 1 reflection. What did I do today that matched my highest self? 1 gratitude, 1 lesson. Then, protect sleep. Your brain consolidates memories, clears waste, restores willpower. Sleep is not a luxury, it is a strategy. Weekly, we extend the review. On your chosen evening, sit with your numbers and your notes. Score the week by alignment, not applause. Did your actions embody your values? Did your schedule match your priorities? Where did emotion hijack you? Where did discipline hold? Then decide 1 experiment to run next week. Experiments create momentum. Change 1 variable, measure, keep, or discard. Over months, this builds a robust personal operating system. Monthly, assess your wealth engine. Increase your automated savings rate by a sliver if your cash flow allows. Sweep surplus into investments. Review asset allocation. Are you weighted toward your horizon and risk tolerance? Check expense audits. Remove recurring costs that no longer serve. Reinvest in skill. A course, a book, a mentor session. Do not buy information to feel productive. Buy it to build capability. Apply immediately. When you learn, teach someone. Teaching locks knowledge into your identity. Let us talk identity shifts, because acting as if requires you to stop pretending you are a visitor in your own life. Identity is the story you tell yourself about your capabilities and your character. Change the story by changing the evidence. Gather proof you are the kind of person who follows through, who asks for the sale, who respects the budget, who trains when tired, who tells the truth. The proof is micro. Stack it until it is macro. The brain updates self-image when action and affirmation match. When you say, "I am disciplined," and then you keep a small promise, your subconscious accepts the new file. Affirmations are not spells, they are instructions. To make them powerful, phrase them in identity, pair them with action, and load them with feeling. Morning and night, quietly say, "I choose courage over comfort. I create value daily. I honor my word. I build assets and skills. I lead myself first." Then do something trivial that aligns. Make the bed with precision. Send the invoice. Read for 15 minutes. Do 5 push-ups. Prepare tomorrow's clothes. Small acts saturate big words. Visualization must be specific. Sit still. Slow your breath. Bring a single scenario to mind. You giving a pitch. You closing a sale. You writing uninterrupted. You stepping into a cold shower, and you asking a hard question in a meeting. See it, hear it, feel the friction, and you're calm. Now rehearse the first 30 seconds of action afterward. The brain respects clarity. Vague visions drift. We will also use cognitive reframing. When you catch a thought like, "I always mess this up," pause. Label it story, not fact. Replace it with an accurate, empowering frame. "I have messed this up before, and I learned the fix. This time, I implement the fix." You are not gaslighting yourself. You are choosing the frame that provokes useful action. Attentional control is training your spotlight. Identify your distraction triggers: noise, boredom, uncertainty. Design countermeasures. Noise-canceling headphones. A written plan. Micro breaks. Use a timer technique. Focus for a set period. Rest briefly. Repeat. Over time, lengthen the focus intervals. Reward yourself only after finishing. This is the brain's carrot. Use it. Fear dissolves under repetition and vision. Expose yourself to the thing you fear in controlled doses. Afraid of sales calls? Schedule 3 daily. Script the first sentence. Smile before dialing. Keep a tally. After 30 calls, fear fades to friction. Afraid of the camera? Record a short video every day, even if you do not publish it. Afraid of the gym? Walk in, do a 10-minute routine, leave. The point is not heroics, it is exposure. You want wealth? Build a framework around values, not vanity. Be explicit. What do you refuse to do for money? What will you do for your family? Write your money principles. I invest consistently. I never borrow for depreciating status. I pay myself first. I buy assets. That cash flow. I diversify skills before I diversify investments. Then, behave accordingly. This steadies your hand when markets shake. We will bring in spiritual alignment because humans are not machines. When you act as if you are meant to succeed, you are aligning with a principle older than profit. Sowing and reaping. Give value, receive value. Serve, then sell. Gratitude increases your sense of sufficiency, which reduces scarcity panic, which improves your risk assessment. Generosity builds networks that money cannot buy. Contentment does not mean laziness. It means grounded ambition, hunger with humility. Now, strategy. People lose because they mistake motion for progress. They collect podcasts like trophies. They never push the heavy thing. Your job is to define a core aim and reduce everything to that. Who you serve, how you get paid. Build a flywheel. Content that attracts, offers that convert, service that delights, referrals that compound. Measure with simple metrics: number of valuable conversations, proposals sent, close rate, average order value, lifetime value, recurring revenue. Use dashboards, review weekly, adjust. Kill perfection. Perfection is a mask fear wears to sound noble. Ship early. Iterate. Draft 1 is supposed to be ugly. Draft 2 exists because Draft 1 is real. A word on resilience. You will be hit. The data will disappoint. A client will leave. Your body will fail you for a week. You will forget a promise. When that happens, you will not narrate doom. You will run a recovery protocol. Step 1. Pause. Step 2. Breathe. Step 3. Label the facts and the feelings separately. Step 4. Write one small next action. Step 5. Do it. Step 6. Call a friend. Step 7. Sleep. The next day, re-enter the plan. This is how we outlast the drama. I want to tell you a story with fire in it. In a dim room, a painter stood with a half-finished canvas. He layered colors no one else considered neighbors. He studied cadavers to understand the machinery under the skin. He wrote notes backward in a mirror. He chased flight with lurching contraptions. He was not content to be one thing. He married art to engineering. The lesson is not pandemonium, it is synthesis. Combine skills. Your competitive advantage appears at the intersection. Finance plus storytelling. Design plus data. Leadership plus empathy. Skill stacking multiplies value. Another figure crossed deserts and mountains with armies that trusted his eye more than maps. He split forces, took high ground, moved swiftly. He knew morale is a weapon. He gave his soldiers a narrative and a plan they could understand. In your team, in your family, in your own mind, morale matters. You create it with clarity, competence, and visible care. People will fight for a leader who fights for them. Be that leader for yourself first. In a quiet lab, a quiet mind observed the invisible force that connects iron filings on paper with stars in the sky. He knew his ideas were too large for patience sometimes, but he never relinquished the elegance of his imagination. The lesson: protect your capacity to dream by protecting your sleep and your solitude. A mind constantly drenched in noise cannot assemble vision. Silence is not empty, it is full of answers. Another titan of steel once spent a long dinner coaxing confidence from a worried manager whose factory underperformed. He did not drown him in instructions. He drew a chalk number on a furnace door. The count of heats completed that shift, then asked the night crew to beat it. Competition ensued. Performance improved. Simple, visible metrics nudge behavior. Use visual cues for your goals. A wall calendar with chain marks for daily habits. A whiteboard tally for outreach. A progress bar for savings. The mind loves games. Give it one you design. Now, let us craft your personal operating system. It has pillars: identity, values, vision, strategy, execution, review, relationships, recovery. For identity, write the sentence that begins with "I am the kind of person who," and fill it with behavior. For values, choose 3 no-compromise anchors: integrity, excellence, service. Define what each looks like in action. For vision, write a paragraph describing the life you are building. Focus on sensations, routines, who you spend time with, the problems you solve. For strategy, map how you make money now and how you will make money next. Outline projects and playbooks. For execution, schedule deep work blocks and define success metrics. For review, set weekly and monthly check-ins. For relationships, list 5 people you will serve, learn from, and encourage. For recovery, plan your sleep, movement, and play, then live it. Update quarterly. Let us get more granular. Journaling prompts you can use nightly. What did I do today that my future self will thank me for? What did fear try to sell me? And how did I respond? Where did I waste energy? What thought served me? What story hurt me? What one decision do I need to make? Who did I help? What did I learn that I can teach tomorrow? How did I invest in my health? Where did I keep my word? Where did I break it? How will I repair? Affirmations you can rotate. I act before I am ready, then I refine. I am calm under pressure. My breath leads. My attention is my wealth. I guard it. I move money toward assets every pay period. I practice until skill becomes second nature. I am generous. Value flows in and out of my life. I solve hard problems and earn trust. Visualizations to rehearse. The moment you say no to a distraction. The moment you ask for the sale. The moment you finish a workout and smile at your own grit. The moment you decline a shiny but misaligned opportunity. The moment you write your child's name into your calendar and keep it like a board meeting. The moment you open a statement and see your investments compounding and you feel grateful, not greedy. Mental exercises for resilience. Cold exposure for brief periods to train your breath to lead under stress. Not as a stunt, but as a reminder that you can stay composed in discomfort. Attention fasting. 1 hour a day without inputs, just a walk and a notebook. This is fuel for insight. Gratitude scanning. List 3 specifics, not generic. The taste of coffee after deep work. A text from a friend. A new client, paying an invoice on time. The brain learns to notice sufficiency, reducing the itch for impulsive purchases. Cognitive load shedding. Decide once for many situations. A uniform for workdays. Standard meals. Standard start rituals. Save decision energy for strategy. Tools for making decisions faster. The 2-minute test. If it takes less than 2 minutes, do it now. The regret. Minimization. Imagine your 80-year-old self. Which choice would they cheer? The base rate check. What usually happens when people make this move? The pre-mortem. Assume the project failed. List reasons. Design safeguards. The inversion. How could you guarantee failure? Avoid those paths. I want to pause for a soft reminder. If this space serves you, if these tools help you stand a little taller, subscribe so you have a companion at the forge. This is not entertainment for me. It is craft. I want you in the circle. Weekly. Sharpening with us. Now, let us stitch science into soul. Habit loops are built on cues. Design your environment to broadcast cues that trigger the behaviors you want. Place a water bottle on your desk. Preload your investing app with auto transfers. Remove cues for bad habits. Delete apps. Hide the remote. Clear counters. The brain craves convenience. Make the right choice easy. Neuroplasticity thrives on intensity and repetition. Short, focused sessions beat long, distracted ones. Novelty spikes attention. Pair it with learning. You are changing biology, not just philosophy. When you repeat a focused action and reward it, neurotransmitters reinforce the pathway. You are sculpting white matter like a potter with clay. Attentional control is trained like a muscle. Meditation is not mysticism. It is practice in returning your focus. You sit, you notice your mind wanders, you return to breath. That is a rep. Do 10 minutes. If thoughts chew at you, name them. Planning, worry, memory. Then return. Over weeks, you will feel the gap between stimulus and response widen. In that gap, decisions breathe. Cognitive reframing is engineering for meaning. When a challenge arrives, ask a better question. Not why me, but what is the invitation here? What can this teach me? What strength do I get to practice? Your brain hunts answers to the questions you ask most. Ask wisely. Implementation intentions tie a trigger to an action. If it is 7, I write for 30 minutes. If it is noon, I walk for 10. If I finish a meeting, I send a recap email. These reduce negotiation. The more you reduce negotiation, the more willpower you free. If faith is a muscle, fear is a story. Faith is not blind. It sees the mountain and climbs anyway, because it knows the way is carved by steps. Fear will whisper that you must wait until you feel ready. This is a lie. Readiness is sculpted by doing. You need a small bias toward action, a plan that respects risk, and a community that reflects your future self. Community. Yes, success is contagious. Find people who hold you to your best, not your past. Share your weekly review with a partner. Post your progress to a small group. Ask for feedback. Give feedback generously. Praise effort and integrity, not just outcomes. Enter rooms where the norm is discipline, not drama. Let other people's excellence irritate you into growth. Let us talk about morality in ambition, because without it, success rots. The market rewards speed, but your soul rewards truth. Commit to building wealth by creating genuine value, paying people fairly, and being transparent. When you make a mistake, own it quickly. When you say you will deliver, deliver with margin. When you cannot, communicate early. Integrity is not a slogan. It is an operating system. It attracts partners and customers the way clean water attracts life. We have walked across the terrain of habits and money. Now, I want to wire decisiveness into your days. Practice fast, small decisions to train the muscle. Choose the healthier meal. Choose to start the task without a ritual of avoidance. Choose to make the call. These tiny moves build a reflex. For larger decisions, write your criteria. Weight them. Score your options. Decide. Commit to a time horizon before evaluating. I will not second guess for 2 weeks. This stops the loop of anxiety disguised as analysis. Set weekly challenges. 1 week, no social media before noon. Another week, pitch your offer to 5 new prospects every weekday. Another week, wake at the same time, even on weekends. Another week, track every minute of deep work. Another, spend 0 on non-essentials. Channel that money into investments. Create stakes. Tell a friend. Put money on the line or a reputation pledge. Accountability transforms wish into will. On wealth creation. Fuse strategy with patience. Learn to read basic financial statements. You do not need to become an accountant, but you need to see inside a business. Revenue, expenses, profit, cash flow. Cash flow keeps the lights on. Profit proves value. Build productized services you can deliver consistently. Craft an irresistible offer. A clear problem. A bold promise you can actually keep. Proof you can deliver. A price that reflects value. A guarantee that reduces risk. Sell without slime. Ask questions. Diagnose. Recommend. Close. Follow up. Follow through. Ask for referrals. Build a second brain for your business. A place where you store templates, scripts, playbooks, lessons learned. Let us integrate a final set of historical sparks, because patterns are instructive. A rough rider stepped into the arena with asthma in his chest and iron in his eyes. He trained his body until it obeyed. He read until the lights dimmed. He rode until his hands cramped. He took bullets and setbacks and kept moving. He did not outsource his vitality. He built it. You may not ride horses into battle, but you can choose to turn your fragility into a training plan. Cardio for the breath, strength for the back, discipline for the schedule. Nothing fancy, everything consistent. A philosopher who drank hemlock rather than violate his principles taught through questions more than lectures. He believed truth grows in dialogue. Ask yourself questions that reveal your motives. Who am I serving? What am I afraid of losing? What would I do if no one could see? The honest answers will guide you better than any slogan. Philosophy is not a luxury. It is a compass for action. A railway baron saw the value in speed and reliability. He pressured timelines, cut costs, standardized parts. Ruthless sometimes, yes, but the transferable lesson is operational excellence. Your business needs standard operating procedures, so your brain is not the bottleneck. Write them, update them, train them. This creates consistency and frees your mind to strategize. An iron-willed conqueror stitched villages into nations with roads and bridges, but his greatest infrastructure was discipline. He maintained relentless focus on supply lines. Vision without logistics is hallucination. In your projects, plan the unglamorous pieces: distribution, delivery, follow-up. If you cannot deliver at scale, price accordingly and stay small until you can. Integrity again. We will build the long game now, because a flash is not the same as a flame. A lifelong framework means you stop hunting for the perfect plan and build one that evolves. Discipline in thought. Practice thinking on paper. Break big goals into projects, projects into tasks, tasks into calendar blocks. Clarity and vision. Rewrite your one-paragraph future every quarter. Strong in values. Revisit your 3 anchors weekly. Bold in action. Commit to one scary move each week. Unstoppable in growth. Maintain a reading practice, a course practice, a mentorship relationship. Free in mind. Keep a meditation practice and a daily walk without headphones. Rich in soul. Practice gratitude, service, and beauty. Abundant in results. Track metrics that matter, not vanity. You will fall off. Get back on. The system is there to catch you. Let me give you a personal power routine to adopt for 30 days. Wake at a consistent time. No phone for the first 30 minutes. Water, breath, identity lines, journal, 3 lines, visualization. Deep work block 1. Movement. Deep work block 2. Admin. Shutdown. Evening reflection. 10 minutes of reading. Sleep on time. Save a percentage automatically. Invest weekly or bi-weekly. Track deep work hours. Track outreach. Track workouts. Track spending. Review weekly. Adjust. After 30 days, you will feel a thicker spine. After 90, others will notice. After a year, you will be unrecognizable in the best way. Fear will visit. We plan for it. When anxiety spikes, breathe down into the belly, out longer than in. Name the fear. Write it. Write the cost of obeying it. Write the value of defying it. Then do the smallest brave act available. You are training your nervous system to associate fear with forward motion, not retreat. Over time, fear becomes a weather report, not a verdict. Vision will fade if neglected. You will refill it. Create a personal vision deck on paper, not just in your head. Photos or drawings that represent your values. A cabin for solitude. A gym for discipline. A ledger for wealth. A dinner table for family. A map for adventure. Review this weekly. Feel gratitude for what is already true. Feel hunger for the rest. Then return to the work. If your background whispers that money is dirty or success selfish, make peace. Write a new money story. Wealth in the right hands solves problems. Your integrity will scale with your income if you decide it will. Give generously without advertising yourself as a hero. Invest in people. Sponsor growth. Use money as a tool, not a measure of worth. We will turn finally to the invisible force behind all this. Faith that your actions matter. Not magical thinking. Earned confidence. You believe in the morning because you have learned you will show up. You believe in your business because you track numbers and improve inputs. You believe in your body because you nourish it. Faith, then, is memory of prior discipline projected into tomorrow. Build that memory today. If you stumbled here uncertain, you will leave with a simple directive. Act as if you are meant to succeed. Choose one promise. Keep it. Choose one skill. Practice it. Choose one asset. Fund it. Choose one value. Honor it under pressure. Repeat. Your identity will catch up. The world will. 2. Before we start to cool the forge tonight, let me extend an invitation. Join us week after week. Subscribe if you have not. Bring your notes. Bring your ambition. Bring your failures. We turn them into fuel here. The circle grows stronger with you in it. We close with a short practice. Sit tall and breathe. Inhale courage. Exhale doubt. Inhale focus. Exhale noise. Inhale discipline. Exhale excuses. Now, whisper to yourself the decision that changes the next hour. It does not need to shock anyone. It needs to move you. Open the calendar and block the work. Open the account and set the transfer. Open the doc and write the first line. If fear resists, thank it for trying to keep you safe and ask it to ride in the back. Seatbelt fastened, mouth quiet. You are driving. Remember the tales we walked through of the motormaker who standardized his dream, of the filament chaser who wore out failure until it yielded, of the empire builder who coordinated brilliance, of the melancholy leader who held a nation steady, of the oil architect who treated emotion as noise and numbers as guide, of the wartime speaker whose sentences were shields, of the sage emperor who wrote himself into courage, of the inventor who built turbines in his mind. They were not gods. They were craftsmen of thought and action. You share their raw materials. Tomorrow morning, wake and do the small holy things. Breathe, write, move, build, listen, decide. When discouragement knocks, answer with evidence of who you are becoming. When opportunity whispers, lean in. When greed shouts, quiet it with principle. When fatigue settles, rest with pride, not guilt. You are not chasing success like a dog chases a car, mindless and frantic. You are building it like a mason lays stone, one after the other, line straight, mortar set, eye on the arch that will one day hold weight. If you ever doubt, return to the image we began with. A key, warm in your palm. You forged it by showing up when no one watched, by investing before you could afford to, by practicing harder than your reputation requires, by protecting your attention like treasure, by telling yourself the truth and then acting on it. That key turns any door labeled too early, too difficult, not for you. You were meant to succeed in the way that matters. As a person of integrity, clarity, courage, generosity, and craft, who builds wealth by building value, who leads by serving, who grows without end. I am proud of you for staying, for listening with more than your ears. Now, choose your next brave act. Make it small enough to start and big enough to matter. Walk through the door you have been staring at. This is your forge. We will keep the fire burning. And if you want that steady heat in your life, subscribe so our weekly sparks remind you of who you are and where you are going. Then put down the phone, pick up the work, and act as if you are meant to succeed. Because when you do so long enough and honestly enough, it stops being an act and becomes the most natural thing in the world. Champions, your mind has been forged a little stronger today, but the real test isn't what you learned, it's what you do with it. Take action, dominate your day, and remember, we're not just building better thoughts, we're forging unstoppable lives. The forge doesn't stop, and neither do you. If this episode hit you where it counts, subscribe to Mental Forge Academy and join the Brotherhood of Champions who refuse to settle for ordinary. Go transform, strike while the mind is hot,